observing such very worrying developments as the so-called medical system collapse may be imminent, and many of the routes of infections of the many new patients cannot be identified, the Prime Minister had to come to the final decision. Okay, the stay-home request is already issued in Tokyo. What change or changes will be brought about by the declaration, Mr. Tokuhashi? That the governors will be authorized to ask people to refrain from leaving home, which is not a significant departure from the stay-home instructions.
Magla-lockdown na. Disgrasya na to. Wala nang trabaho. Puta.
There will be no penalties imposed on violators. Urban lockdown or the total ban of anybody moving in and out of the cities will not be or cannot be applied in Japan. Okay then, what significantly can we be able to do and not be able to do? The local governments can either instruct or request for the restriction or suspension of the usage of the facilities many people use simultaneously. Department stores, maybe theaters, and hotels. Instruction does not entail penalties, but the names of the business entities will be disclosed so that this may have the effect equivalent to orders. In addition, the government can ask or instruct the schools to close and suspend the events. They would be allowed to use the land and the buildings without the owner's consent in order to set up the temporary medical facilities. Or that the medicines and food and masks and the other essential resources can be expropriated. A declaration is planned as early as tomorrow, according to the Prime Minister. What will
Ito, di-declare na tomorrow.
Okay, first, an advisory panel of experts will be called. Then they will review.
Magla-lockdown na rin sa Tokyo. Sa Yokohama kaya? Kasama?
If their response is in affirmative, the Prime Minister will brief that the declaration to the Parliament, and he will declare that the emergency as soon as possible and personally call the press meeting for explaining the contents of the statement to the people.
Next, let's go to Kinjo Masaki, who covers the Tokyo Metropolitan Government.
Baka mag-lockdown na, baka yan ang sila, hindi ko alam kung Tokyo lang eh.
A state of emergency be declared. They seem to have a sense of crisis in Tokyo. But yes, the governor, Yuriko Koike, says that we are at a very important point in time. There may be an explosive increase in the infection. Since she said this, more than 10 days have passed. During this time, to prevent an explosive increase in the infection and to avoid...
Panay 100 plus kasi yung araw-araw sa Tokyo. Kaya baka mag-declare na sila ng ano. Ngayon 83 oh.
Each day, and today 83 people have been confirmed positive. That's more than 1,100 people.
Sa Tokyo yan. Eh palagi ka sa Tokyo, Joshua, puta, disgrasya to. Baka may, ano ka na, COVID-19, kabit mo 19 years old.
Within the scope of the law, what can Tokyo do? It's already considering this.
Joshua, yung kabit mo, 19 years old.
To hold the final discussions, and tonight from 9:30, the government will hold an extraordinary news conference and explain to the residents. I see. So once the state of emergency is declared, specifically, what will Tokyo do? Contact between people should be avoided as much as possible. That's the important point. Towards the residents of Tokyo, going to hospital, buying food, activities needed for maintaining life will be maintained. But those are the exceptions. And other than that, people will be requested to stay at home. And to businesses, where many people may come together in close...
Hindi na tinatama ang edad namin, bago na ngayon, yung mga edad nyo na, Joshua. Tapos yung kapit mo sa Tokyo, ha, huwag kang papahuli sa asawa mo. May COVID-19 ka na.
Nightclubs and other entertainment venues, izakaya restaurants, movie theaters, live music venues, and theaters, universities, cram schools, education...
Huwag mo na magulo dyan, puta na magandang news to.
And other sports facilities, department stores, shopping malls, and other commercial facilities in principle will be asked to close. On the other hand, sales of food, medicines, and other necessities of daily life will continue to be sold. Banks and financial institutions that are needed to maintain society and economic activities, as long as they take appropriate measures to prevent infection, will continue to be in operation. So
Baka mag-lockdown sa Tokyo, no?
can they contain
Tol.
infection? That's the important point. What
Tol Goryo.
do you think? Based on the Special Measures Act, Tokyo is trying to engage in certain measures, but violators will not be punished. Therefore, to prevent the spread of infection,
Yung COVID mo, gago, ka magulo, may Diyos dito.
you have to try to save.
Papatawa ka na naman dyan, puta, di ka naman nakakatawa eh.
Tokyo is going to ask for the cooperation of residents more than ever before. And measures to prevent the medical system from collapsing are also necessary. People who are in hospital, whose symptoms are mild or who have no symptoms, will be asked to move to hotels. That's to free up the beds for people with more serious symptoms. So can we contain the spread of the infection? And at the same time, can we maintain our medical system to contain the invisible virus in the giant city of Tokyo? We are about to begin efforts that no one has ever experienced before.
Now we have some reactions to the Prime Minister's announcement. Osaka Governor Yoshimura Hirofumi says he intends to send a stronger message to residents of Osaka. He says he wants to ask them to remain in their homes apart from outings that are essential for daily life. Saitama Governor Ono Motohiro says he has already made requests to the people in his prefecture. He says his calls for voluntary restraint on travel will remain in place for
Meron pero ano, dumadami pa rin eh.
by law.
Mga nahawa.
Governor Kuroiwa Yuji says he understands that once the state of emergency has been declared, prefectural governors will have the authority to oversee their prefectures. Fukuoka Governor Ogawa Hiroshi says he appreciates that the Prime Minister has understood the difficult situation that his prefecture is facing. He says the necessary measures will be drawn up as soon as possible. The chairman of the Japan Business Federation, Nakanishi Hiroaki, says the federation is ready to do whatever it can to ensure the government and the private sector can work together to tackle this situation. He says he is aware that the federation's member companies need to take necessary steps to help the government with its economic measures while closely monitoring the situation. In this Tokyo shopping district, people expressed concern. The owner of a Chinese restaurant says the government's call for businesses to close are unrealistic if there are no steps to provide compensation for the losses incurred. He says he will do everything possible to keep his restaurant open. The owner of this optician store says he has already closed his shop from today. He says he has a large family and he doesn't want them to become ill. He says he decided to do whatever they can to fight the virus.
Next, we look at how a state of emergency is likely to impact our daily lives. First, essential utilities and services. Electricity, gas, and water supplies will not be stopped. Telephone and internet service providers are required to continue providing services without interruption. Next, shopping. Major supermarkets and convenience store chains, as well as drugstores, are basically planning to continue their usual operations. The government is urging people not to hoard food or other products, or to rush to stores. There will be ample supplies of food, even if a state of emergency is declared. As for public transportation, major railway, bus, and airline companies say they intend to continue normal operations without cancelling or decreasing their services. And regional highway companies do not plan any restrictions on expressway traffic. Japan Post says that mail and parcels will be delivered as usual. Two major parcel delivery companies, Yamato Transport and Sagara Express, also plan to continue their regular services. And bank ATMs will be in service as usual. Nursery schools and care homes for the elderly will be required to take measures to prevent coronavirus infections. They may be asked to suspend services that are not essential for sustaining the day-to-day lives of the children or residents and their family members. Professor Kaku Mitsuo of Tokyo Medical and Pharmaceutical University is a specialist in infectious diseases. He says the state of emergency does not mean that people cannot leave their homes. He says they will be permitted to go out to buy daily necessities. The request for people to stay at home will not apply for visits to hospitals or clinics to receive treatment, but Professor Kaku is urging caution. He says that people should only go to the hospital if they feel very ill, because there's always a risk of getting infected in a hospital waiting room. He says if the symptoms are not severe, staying home and observing the symptoms for a while could save your life. Kaku says that if too many people go to the hospital seeking outpatient services, that may lead to an overload and cause hospitals to become dysfunctional.
This news has just come in that according to the government, Prime Minister Abe Shinzo will call a press meeting at about 7 p.m. tomorrow. And he is expected to explain that what kind of the measures be included into the declaration of the state of emergency caused by the new type of the coronavirus measures.
Ito, mag-declare na ng state of emergency. Lockdown na.
Cases in Japan has topped 4,000.
Pabanggitin na bukas, Rapi. Tagal Tokyo ka ba?
Tokyo had reported more than 100 new infections for 2 straight days, confirming 117 cases on Saturday and 143 on Sunday. With today's tally of 83, Tokyo's total is 1,116. The red areas show cases with unknown infection routes. 143 new cases were confirmed yesterday, and 92 of them, or about 2/3, are untraceable. The Tokyo government is urging residents to avoid non-essential outings. A major IT firm has published estimates of the number of people who went outdoors in Tokyo's 23 wards during the past 2 weekends. Yahoo Japan obtained users' consent before compiling the information. The data show fewer people went outside in Tokyo's 23 wards during the past 2 weekends compared to the weekend of March 21st and 22nd. The number of people going outside dropped after the Tokyo government urged residents to stay home at the weekends. The average number of people in Tokyo who went outside on weekdays last week was about 2,383,000.